There's been a lot of conversation in the natural hair community about people's dislike for having civil rights activist looking hair. And as someone who often jokes with y'all about having very much civil rights activist looking hair, whether I'm doing a Sunday service silk press or a classic Power to the People afro, I want to chime in on this conversation and highlight a glaring issue that I've noticed and also share a tutorial from one of my favorite quote unquote civil rights activist hairstyles to do, which is a classic Bantu knot out. So on to the issues. The main thing I notice in this conversation is that people don't find civil rights hairstyles to be inspirational or aspirational, and I think that's a problem. I think that you should feel inspired from looking at people who, against the odds, against stigma, embraced their natural hair and fought to cultivate a landscape where we all can do the same. I think you should aspire to have civil rights activists looking hair because civil rights activists have hair that looks like yours. Whether we acknowledge it or want to or not, many civil rights activists prided themselves on embracing their natural hair without chemical manipulation, on not overly manipulating their natural hair and just wearing their hair as it grew. So to say that you don't aspire to have hair that looks like theirs when you already by default do is reflective of a broader issue. And yes, it is a multifaceted issue. Yes, there is a lot of factors at play. There's anti-blackness, there's texturism, there's all these things. But there is also an unwillingness to start making the change to embrace your natural hair on the individual level. And that is something that is honestly required to really get to a point of embracing and loving your hair. Now, for me, as somebody who went natural later in life, I didn't go natural until I was a sophomore in high school. I had long permed hair prior to that. I encountered a lot of backlash in my personal life when I decided to go natural. You know, people said, why would you cut off your long permed hair to have, you know, a short, quote unquote, nappy afro? And that was just a straight up statement. I didn't get a lot of support from the people around me, so I drew inspiration from civil rights activists. I was inspired by how they navigated turmoil around embracing themselves in their natural state. I aspired to have my hair look like theirs because it already did. That was transformative. That was helpful. It has been what has allowed me, you know, to share all my different hair journeys with you all and to really embrace where I am now in my natural hair journey. And so I think it's important when we're having this conversation to say, you know what? No, though. You should actually want to have civil rights activists looking hair because civil rights activists already have hair that looks like you. There is a value to being inspired and to aspiring to look like these people and have these styles.